Hello ladies and gentlemen, it is me again, Insane Gorilla, and welcome back to my channel. This is What If Deku Was a Werewolf? Now, you may be wondering, why the werewolf thing? One, I don't actually know, kind of thought it might actually be a good idea, so said to myself, screw it, go with it for a bit. So here I am, and yeah, let's just hope it goes well. Sorry if I pause and stutter a bit. I do apologise for that. If it happens, so without further ado, let's get on with the video. But also, please hit the like button if you liked the video, subscribe as well, and if you want to leave a comment of what you thought of the video, please do. I'd love to hear your criticisms and if you liked it or not. So, let's get on with the video. So, where we start this off is with a young boy, around about 3 to 5 years old, in an alleyway. His clothes are muddied and dirtied, and he's generally looking, well, generally depressed. The boy had bruises from his eyes to his jaw, arms, and legs. As he scrounges through the trash, crying and wanting his mummy to take him back. He wants to be safe, he wants his mum. But every time he thinks of it, he has her image in his head, her beating him to hell because he didn't have a quirk that was actually going to reel in the cash. So she could live off the cash he earned as a hero. He'd still be scrounging through the trash until he'd hear a growl. As he'd put his hand on his stomach and cry, saying he's so hungry, he can't find any decent food, until you'd hear the growl again and clutch hold of his stomach, falling away from the trash bin. The hunger pains were extensive. Pat, pat, pat. He'd look up as water would hit him in the face, as the rain would start pouring. It's a sad day. Izuku Midoriya is his name. And he was abandoned at 5 to 3 years old. No, 5 years old, put it that. Until somebody would walk up to him. A tall and beautiful woman in very revealing clothes. She'd lean over him, her very big chest jiggling as she bends over to look at him. All he can do is wonder, who is she, and why does she look so pretty? Even with the water cascading down her back and in her hair, she didn't seem to care. She just looked at him, smiled. Well, well, well. What do we have here? A little pup who's lost his way. She kneels down. Izuku couldn't help but see that her chest was getting a lot bigger as she bent down onto her knees to literally look at him in the face. Tell me, pup, what brings you to this neck of the woods? My mummy abandoned me. The woman's eyes were narrow. She abandoned you? What for? I don't have a strong quirk. Oh? What kind of quirk do you have? Quirkless. Oh, you poor pup. Well, I'm quirkless too. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. But kicking you out because of it, it's not good parenting. Well, tell you what, how about I bring you home with me? That way you can get some food in you and you can live a happy and safe life. How would that sound? She'll tilt her head one side and just smile. That smile that just says she's being honest. It's the honest smile and the truthful smile. Mizuki, wary enough, just says, But why would you be nice to a quirkless kid? She'd sigh and slightly chuckle, saying, 'Cause I am quirkless myself. I don't have a quirk, per se, but I do have a special gift. As she would gently lift Izuku up, feeling how weak and frail he is. In her mind, damn, good job I got to him when I did. Couple of more days and he would literally have been dead in the streets. Don't worry, pup. You're going to love it in your new home. She would walk away. Years later, in an old abandoned church, a now 17-year-old boy, with no longer the dark green hair he used to have, it's now a dark wood brown, with green eyes and 4 freckles on his cheeks, hunched over as he walks, into a abandoned church. He opens it as he sees a lot of men and women in different states of dress. As he look at all of them, eyeing each and every one up cautiously, but without a hint of worry. They all look at him, some growl when he looks at them. Some of the guys crack their knuckles. Some of the girls look at him with a bit of a sneer. Other girls flash him their very nicely curved breasts. And some guys just simply wave, like, hey, how you doing? Others nod in his direction. Same with some of the girls as well. Some wave, some sneer, some growl at him. Others sensually flash him their big boobs and all that. Mizuku keeps walking, obviously, because it's Mizuku. Who else would it be? As he'd finally step in front of a singular woman named April. As she'd look at him and smile. Hey, kiddo. Hey, Mum. As he would hug her and she would hug him back. It's good to see my green bean of a sprout of a son has, truly grown. Look at you. You handsome little shit. Thanks, Mum. Don't mention it, sweetheart. Now that we're all here, perhaps we can begin our clan or tribal meetings. As April would sit down in a chair, basically puts both of her feet up on a desk, as everybody else would finally sit down. Mizuki would just sit in the back and just nod off, really, because meetings were never his thing. The meeting was just a bit of a tribal dispute between 2 tribes. And that was it. It eventually got to the point of where the council of the tribe, a tribal council meeting was called, where tribes from all over Japan come and talk things out, to smooth out any dissent among the ranks. And this was one of the worst ones yet. A tribal matter between two up-and-coming alphas trying to get the same female from a different tribe of werewolf. And she was already, being kind of the agitator between the two of the men, because she wanted to test both of them, so she'd sleep with one, then sleep with the other, then have sex with one, then have sex with the other, and she'll egg them both on to prove which one was strongest. All while actually being with another man and actually being claimed by him, who was unfortunately also in a different tribe. So they were all discussing the arguments between the two clan up-and-coming alphas that were being basically toyed with from their dicks, and the female from that other tribe, sorry, I keep wanting to say tribes and clans, sorry about that, is basically just sitting in the back, just giggling and getting a good old kick out of this. While her mate from another tribe is just rubbing his head, saying to himself, why did I mate with this woman again? Oh, right. She was actually quite strong. The arguments continue. Zuko, who was quite literally asleep still in the back corner, not really paying attention to this, would have something thrown at him. And so he'd just simply grab it out of the air and crack open an eye. As he'd see his mother pretty much just nodding her head, saying, come on, sort this out. Sorry about that, got something in my throat. So Zuko just rolls his singular eye as he opens his other one, as he rubs his eyes. He should get up and finally walk in the centre of the room, in between the two male up-and-coming alphas, and just says, look, I don't want to be here listening to you two cry like little babies. Because you both got your feelings hurt and you're being towed along by your cocks. Stop being dumbasses. You're fighting over a woman who's using you both for her own pleasure. Now shut the hell up. Go back to your clans. Your clans will give you your punishments for being stupid. I don't care what you say or what you're doing. This is a clan meeting, not a playground for you two to be kids and act like you just had your toys stolen. Now shut up, listen to the council. And you, Missy, you're in even bigger trouble because you were the problem with this. So technically it should be your tribe sorting this out. But no, the whole council had to get involved in this. It could have been easy. Could have had your clan, tribe, sorting all this out. Zuko would turn around and walk away. Some of the councillors would look annoyed, but all of them would have to nod, saying, yes, this is a council meeting, not a courtroom, where they can just throw baseless accusations at each other, acting like spoiled little brats. Zuko would just head into the back corner again, slump in his chair, and nod off. Eventually, after this council meeting ends, the two tribes still can't come to an agreement, both of them wanting each other to pay for it. And apparently, the tribe with that singular girl who decided to cause absolute fucking mayhem, it basically refuses to even punish her, really. Even with Izuku's warnings that their tribe will one day have its problem come around and bite them smack bang on the bottom, regardless. So yeah, sorry about that. So all that done and said, Izuku pretty much gets up and walks with his mother. His adoptive mother, that is, but hey, he's been with her ever since he was 5, so technically he sees her literally as his biological mother. As he'd walk with her. Sheesh, that meeting was a bore. Izuku, honey, you were not even paying attention, you were sleeping. Through the entire thing. Yeah. I was. You do know I am literally making you the alpha after I retire, right? Does that mean I have to find an alpha female? Yes. I want grandpups to spoil. Oh, good grief, mother. What? I'm being truthful. I want grandbabies. Look. No offense, Mum, but any alpha female is going to have to get past your rigorous and unscrupulous looks. And 9 times out of 10, you scare more of the females off than I scare the males off. Because who knows, you need a male in your life. Hey, I have taken a mate once before. Yeah, and that sucker left you. Yeah. All without giving me a proper child. You're still worried about that? You're still hung up on it? Yes, I am. Got a problem with that? No. Good. As they both walk back to their tribe in Musatafu. Zugu would walk into his room. They lives in with his mum. Well, walk into a house he lives in with his mum. And sleeps. Very next morning, he wakes up, yawns, stretches, feels his bones crack and pop as he gets out of bed and goes downstairs. He sees his mother, kisses her on the cheek, grabs some toast, spreads some butter, then some jam, sits down, turns on the TV, and listens to the news. All while he's getting ready to go, to his last day at school of Aldera High. And seeing Katsuki Bakugo, the annoying prick in his life, he doesn't want to see ever. So, yeah, fun. He finishes his breakfast and finishes getting dressed, kisses his mother on the cheek again, and grabs his lunch for the day, and walks off. He may be 17 years old, but in this what if, you don't leave until you're 17 to go to college or to anywhere else. So finally he walks out. He heads down the street. He ignores people talking because the noise is too much for his ears. When he finally gets out there high, he walks in. People laugh and joke and some sneer at him because he's quirkless. But Zuko ignores them. He goes to class. He sits down and has to listen to the teacher talking about yada yada yada. I know you all want to go to the hero track, throws papers up in the air. Kids go yippee and use their quirks apart from Izuku and Bakugo. One, because Izuku's a werewolf. If he used his quote-unquote quirk, he'd literally turn into a werewolf. And he doesn't want to show people that he has a quote-unquote quirk. Because a werewolf transformation could be considered a quirk. Of course, Bakugo basically says, "Hey, Teach, don't bum me in with these bunch of losers. They'll be lucky to get a D-list hero." Basically, the whole spiel about Bakugo saying, "Yeah, that's right. UA's the only place for me because it's the only place worthy of me." Zuko just rolls his eyes as to say, "For fuck's sake, Bakugo, shut up. You ain't the king. You ain't the be-all, know-all." Of course, this is when the teacher says, Midoriya. Says here, you want to go to UA as well. And before the teacher could say anything else, everybody bursts out into laughter, points at him and says, "That quirkless reject." Of course, Bakugo basically screams saying, "Hey nerd, get the fuck out of UA. Right now, they wouldn't accept a quirkless twat like you." The teacher slams his fist onto the desk and shouts, "Everybody shut the fuck up and let me finish." Everybody still snickers and laughs at Midoriya. Everybody does calm down, as the teacher says that Izuku wants to go into UA's advanced education course. Everybody looks at him, still sneering, like, yeah, they wouldn't even accept you in that either. And the teacher does say, and he does have quite a good scoring on all of his written tests. He is above Bakugo, so he still has a very good chance of getting in. Because UA does in fact have a few quirkless people working there as support staff in case some teachers are unfortunately either having to be called into the hero business to do hero work, or the hero is actually sick. So it's not the first time a quirkless person has gone into UA. It still doesn't matter to these kids, they still laugh and joke saying Midori is going to fall flat on his face like he does everything else in life, because he's a quirkless reject. That even the world says, "Nah, you need to go." Zuko ignores this. It's like, I've heard this so many times. Day goes on, final period. The teacher does his job. He's annoyed because the students haven't stopped laughing at Izuku's, wishes to go to UA to go into the advanced education course. Of course, once period is ended, Bakugo immediately goes over there and slams his fist on his desk, blowing it up, saying, "Nerd, you better pull out of UA. There's no space for the two of us. There's only space for one, and that's me." Izuku has listened to Bakugo's bullshit for the last God knows how many years. He's finally had enough. He slams his fist on his own desk, stands up, grabs Bakugo by the neck, and slams him against the wall. Now, be aware, there are plenty of people still in here, so them seeing Izuku pretty much slam his fist and grab Bakugo by the neck, then proceed to slam him against the wall. A lot of the girls can see, a lot of the girls and guys can see that Izuku suddenly had started growing quite a bit of muscle. Now, this makes some girls say, "Oh, hot damn, he's actually got a quirk that's actually rather unique." But the noise Izuku makes when he slams Bakugo makes him say, perhaps he's got a transformation quirk, because that sounded like an animal growl. And it was. Izuku allowed the inner wolf to come out a bit. As he says, "Look, Bakugo, I don't give a rat's ass what you say. I've listened to your bullshit for God knows how many years, and not once have I retaliated. But today you've virtually broken any restraint I had against throttling you. So now I'm going to see you in UA. I'm going to be doing what I want. You cause any more problems to me, and I'm going to be making sure I break your arms. I don't give a shit if I get sent to juvenile prison. Hell, I don't even care if I get sent to Tartarus. Because breaking your arms would make me feel happy. Because all I can hear is the angry Pomeranian who doesn't know when to shut his own goddamn mouth. You say you're superior to everybody, but all I see is a weak excuse of a human being. Mizuki then pretty much throws him into another wall, pretty much making sure that Bakugo hits it face first. As he looks to Bakugo's friends, as he basically does a small, like, I'm coming for you. Like his body just jerks forward, making them jump back in fright. Typical. Zuko grabs his stuff and just walks out. Now, a lot of the girls did liked Bakugo because he was strong and a brute and brutish. They still liked him because he was still, well, in their opinion, he was the hottest guy. Because of his sort of attitude and the way he is. But seeing Izuku pretty much just choke slam Bakugo into a wall, say what he needed to say, then pretty much made sure Bakugo hit the other wall face first. It showed that Bakugo wasn't strong at all. He was as weak as newspaper when it came to real power and real strength. So they went from being fangirls of Bakugo to being fangirls of Izuku. The girls who saw him, that is. Basically do what he did to Bakugo. And Izuku could hear them whispering about how hot Izuku was when he did that. He just rolls his eyes and shakes his head. He's like, these girls, they see something super like that and they think, oh my god, he has power. Oh, I want a bit of that dickin'. Izuku just rolls his eyes and just walks out. He gets home and pretty much tells his mother what happened. She slaps him in the back of the head for being such an idiot. Izuku just rubs his head and says, yeah, I know. I shouldn't have done that, but it made me feel good afterwards. His mother just chuckles, rolls her eyes, like, yeah, you're my son, alright. Loud and proud and idiotic. She just chuckles. After a while, Izuku just went to Dagobah Beach. Why? Because he's been working there. He's been cleaning all the trash out, so things could really not be as dirty as it used to be. Because he remembers coming to Dagobah Beach a few times. There was a little bit of trash, but not that much. But over the years, he just saw how many people were just dumping trash after trash after trash there. Until it eventually just became the scrap heap it was now. He goes there and, well, he sees a blonde-haired man with a cup of coffee in his hand, wearing a trench coat. Izuku just turns up. Hey, old-timer. The man just chokes a bit before turning around. Huh? Oh, hey. Hey. So, what are you looking at? Nothing. Nothing, just glad someone's cleaning up the beach. Yeah, I'm glad somebody thinks of me doing this as a good thing. This is all you? Yeah, this is all me. This is all me entirely. Zuko just walks down and begins working until the man walks up and starts helping him out. You don't have to help me, old timer, you know? I know, but I like you, kid. I don't swing that way, old man. No, I mean I like you as an individual. You see the trash and you're actually fixing the problem. You're actually getting rid of it. This place used to be quite good, beautiful, but now it's just, well, a metal wasteland. Yeah, tell me about it. What can I help you out with, old timer? Stop calling me old timer. Perhaps I will, once I get a name. Doshinori Yagi. Izuku. Last name? Redhound. Redhound? Huh. Haven't heard that name before. Well, it used to be Midoriya, but I changed it to my new mother's last name. Ah, I see. So you're, Inko's boy. Zuko growls at the name of his former mother. Don't you dare call her my mother. I won't. I won't. I heard what happened. In fact, I'm disgusted. Just because you're quirkless. She up and abandoned you. That's not good parenting. Why do you care, old man? Because it's what a father should do. What? Yeah. Your full name is Izuku Yagi. I'm your father. If you were my father, then where the fuck were you? Just to let you in on a little secret, I have a lot of enemies that would have loved to have hunted down anybody in my family. I've made a lot of villains angry, and they would have loved to have killed my own son. Or my daughter if I had one. Hell, they would have even loved turning them against me, without them even knowing I was their father. But once I heard Inko got rid of you because you had no quirk, I was livid. I've been married to Inko for 4 years. One of those years, I found out she was pregnant with you. I even named you Izuku. I held you in my arms for 3 days. But then I had to leave after I thought my old nemesis was back. Your old nemesis? Yeah. And since no one's around, he buffs up into his All Might form and says quietly, well, loud enough for him to hear, because I am the #1 hero! Aha! Until he puffs into smoke and coughs out blood. Jesus Christ. So you're... Yeah, I'm the #1 hero. All Might. Huh. I always thought that blonde hair and I had something in familiar, or something in common. Yeah. I guess you could say that. Although I don't feel like I'm a good father. I shouldn't have left you. I really shouldn't have. Well, you can't do anything about it now. I know I can't. But please, tell me. I can't call you son because I don't really have the right to call you that. I wasn't particularly a good father. But please, tell me, how was your life before it all changed? Well, I was happy with my mother and, well, my former mother until she decided to kick me out of the street at the age of 5. Toshinori winced. Hearing that, I'm sorry. But then, as I was knocking on death's door, my new mother turned up. Your new mother? Yeah. April. Redhound. I see. I must come to her and thank her for looking after you. For all these years. Yeah, well. Tell me, why did you leave? Was it because of that villain you were talking about? In fact, it was, yeah. Come on, let's find somewhere to sit. Away from prying ears and prying eyes. I don't smell anybody around. Smell? It's a bit complicated. Let's just say my new mother has a lot of things in common with wolves. So think of the hound, the hero hound dog. Hound dog, the hero. I see. So she has senses and sense of smell and hearing. And sight. Somehow she managed to pass that all down to me as well. So yeah, I can now have sensitive hearing, sense of smell, and sight. Well, glad to know. All night in the Suku would find a large pile of trash and sit right beside it and around the corner so nobody could see them. So yeah, I used to be quirkless, you know. Seriously? Yep. Used to be quirkless until I stumbled upon a woman who I asked if it's okay if a quirkless person can become a hero. And she said, yeah, anybody can truly become a hero as long as they have the grit and the drive to become one. Really? Really. She made sure I understood that. Not all heroes were made equal. Her and one of my old teachers taught me that lesson. They must have been some hell of teachers then. They made my life a living hell. But in a good way. Wouldn't have had it any other way. So you're a masochist then. You could say that. But no. My mentor, she gave me her quirk. How is that possible? Yeah. Easy. It's a quirk that's been passed down for the ages. One for all. Name of the quirk? Yep. But there was another quirk. One far more older and ancient. The wielder had lasted for years. One for all for one is the name of the quirk and the villain who uses it. He's been around since the age of quirks began. Wow, that guy's old. Tell me about it. He is old as hell, but immensely powerful. Some years ago, I managed to defeat him. When you were Just born, in fact. I dropped out of contact with Inko after she ran off with you. We made it a point that she would run away and find somewhere else to live. Somewhere far away from where we used to live. So she could be safe, along with our child, and I would find them eventually. You're not good with directions, are you? I'm okay with them. Just when I get distracted, I lose where I'm supposed to go. Yeah, you get lost, don't you? Yeah, I do. But when I found out that Inko had remarried, I tracked her down and sort of pulled her to the side and asked, why did she remarry? And, well, the answer I got was not pleasant. She used you? Yeah. I thought she was a very sweet and innocent girl. She was, until she found out that I had gone missing. She thought I had died and immediately wanted someone else to help her earn even more money. Turns out she was a gold digger. On using me for my money, and that was it. Must have been hard on you. Yeah, yeah, it was. Happiness in my life shattered when I realized that you weren't with her. And trust me, Izuku, I had searched high and low looking for you. I even stealthily went into the underground and asked people to search for a kid with green hair and freckles on his cheeks. Because you were born with those freckles. They are considered your birthmarks. Wow, really? Yeah, really. But even they couldn't find you. You even had to get in touch with Eraserhead to try his end, and even he couldn't find you. Principal Nezu eventually told me that I'm needed in UA, so I'm going to UA this year. Funny, so am I. Hero course? No, basic education. Advanced education. I see. So you have no interest in being a hero. Not when you allow people like Katsuki Bakugo to get in. Who? Katsuki Bakugo. He's a guy with explosions for what that can come out of his hands. He believes he's the best of the best, and he wants to beat you. Wow. Yeah, well, it doesn't help that Eldera High been stroking his ego. I've been hearing some bad rumors about that place. Apparently, it's a quirkism school where only quirks are considered to be human. Well, the quirked are considered to be human, and the quirkless are considered non-human. Yeah. You could say that my quirklessness before my mother met me, my true mother met me, was a eye-opener. Every chance they got, the teachers told the students to do nothing but bully me. And all the girls go after the strongest in the school. That being Bakugo. But it's only because his explosions are constantly being used on me and others. So his explosions are quite strong. And he doesn't hold back on them either. When he wants to truly make a point. I should know, I've been on the receiving end of a few of those stronger points. And the teachers allowed him to get away with it. They encouraged it. Christ. Okay. Oh, now know where to go and start looking. Yeah, well. Yeah, that's not the worst thing. What's the worst? The worst is that there's a girl in there that's a lot like my mother, or former mother. Oh? Who is she? Her name's Izumi. Izumi Hakari, I believe. Her last name. Let's see. So, what? So, is she quirked? Yeah, she's quirked. She's got a pretty decently strong manipulation quirk, where or something, a pull quirk, where she can just pull things to her. But she can also have she also has the ability to generate lightning in her hands as well. I'm guessing that's from her father. I see. Funny thing is, she's not arrogant. In fact, she's rather timid. She hangs out with me a lot. She's one of a few girls that don't seem to hate me. Do you know a few of the other girls? Her and another one called uh Mikore, I think her name is. Mikore and her sister Nikore. Huh. Twin sisters. Yeah, all three hang out with me from time to time. But recently, Zumi hasn't been around. I know where she lives. Sometimes I do walk with her back there, but I don't go anywhere closer to her. Well, closer to the house. She knows my mother and her mother are two of the same people. She knows I'm her half sibling, considering we share the same mother. Does she, tell her mother? She doesn't tell her mother, but her mother found out recently. And Azumi told me that she's basically been telling her to bully me because of my quirklessness. And tell me all sort of nasty things. But she refuses to do so. Because she doesn't think it's right. She even tells me that she has been pretending that I have been bullying. That she has been bullying me just to appease her. That selfish woman. Tell me about it. But that's all in the past now. Izumi hasn't been to school for the last few weeks. Do you know where she lives? Yeah, she lives in such and such street. Well, I'll go up with a few heroes and start snooping around today. You carry on with the beach. And I'm going to put you in for both the hero course and the advanced education course. I want you in there, regardless. Mainly so I can keep close to you and bond with you like father and son. Even though you're meant to be working as a UA teacher. Isn't that a bit of favoritism? Only if the teachers think it is. Well, no. Alright, old timer. That's how you see it. I'll see you soon. Yeah. See ya. All Might would pretty much hug Izuku. It's good to see you, son. Really is good to see you. Thanks, Dad. All Might pats him on the back and let's go. See you soon. So, training montage. All Might does do the investigation into Inko and her husband. And he does find out that Inko had suddenly moved with her husband and Izumi. But when he checks the rosters for potential applicants to UA, surprise, surprise, he found Izumi in there. And so he had been teaching Izuku for the longest time possible. And as a matter of fact, 3 months before the UA entrance exam, they had a very unexpected visitor, Izumi. When Izuku saw Izumi, he asked, "What's she doing here?" Izumi just ran up and cried and hugged him, saying, "I ran away. I don't like what my mother was doing. She was planning something, I don't know what, but I wanted nothing to do with it. My father, he... Izumi just bursts into tears, and she just cries, saying, "My mother killed him, said something about him being an evil so-and-so. But I saw my mother holding the gun. I saw her manic gleam. I didn't want anything to do with it." All Might and Izuku both knew that this isn't good. Inko is apparently is now not just completely insane, but she's a psycho who has plans. Never a good combination. A psycho with a conscience to plan things out. So Izuku and All Might pretty much Izuku just takes her to his mother. When April sees Izuku walk in with a green-haired girl just crying in his arms, he tells her everything. April just nods and takes Izumi in under her wing. And Izuku takes her training with him all the time with All Might. All Might even found out that Izumi was actually Izumi was actually an All Might fan. She loved All Might as a hero because he brought justice to the world. He made sure the heroes were always standing strong, and the villains were always pretty much snapped back down to the bottom of the roster, to where crime was nearly at an all-time low, even nearly zero. Because the heroes were just confident. They knew that they had to show the public that All Might wasn't just the symbol of peace in Japan. He was the symbol of strength and unity for the heroes. So in this, I failed to mention, the heroes also are not weak nor stupid. They all work together to protect to protect the civilians and to protect themselves as well. They work together as a team. So the sludge villain incident I should have mentioned. That incident happens, but it happens to some poor schmuck from Izuku's school that All Might didn't save, because he couldn't save them. So that sludge villain is out there somewhere still. And so with the 3 months been and gone, Izumi walk side by side. Izumi is rubbing her shoulder, as Izuku can see the bite mark of where his mother had basically brought her into the fold. Izuku remembers that day vividly. He remembers going back home, seeing Izumi pretty much with a t-shirt and all that, even her knickers and bra off, as his mother was in her werewolf form, biting down on her shoulder. Izumi was wincing, clearly because Izuku could see her face contort into pain. Beware, Izumi and April were facing the door. April's head was on the right side, biting down into Izumi's shoulder, and Izumi was completely butt-ass naked. So Izuku saw his half-sisters fully knocked out knockers. And be aware, Izumi's only 16, so she's a year younger than Izuku, but she was placed in Izuku's class because of her grades and because of her overall maturity. She was rather advanced for a 16-year-old. So as Izuku walked in, saw that, he basically saw his sister's, chunky breasts and the curvatures of her butt. As April releases Izumi from her mouth, Izumi growls and cries as her body snaps, cracks and pops as she fully turns into a werewolf. And she howls. She does begin fighting April. This is the first time in many a year that Izuku goes full werewolf himself. Because Izumi, surprisingly, was able to use her telekinesis to pull stuff to her, and her lightning powers. In her werewolf form, so Izuku pretty much rugby tackled her and began clawing and biting her. She was pretty much doing the same thing. So Izuku, so both of them were really going at it with each other for quite some time. April was also helping Izuku, trying to get Izumi to basically calm down and come off this frenzied high that she was on. When they finally did get her to calm down, all three are exhausted. Izumi just flat bang on top of Izuku, she's passed out. Izuku and April couldn't even move because they were just so tired. And luckily, Izuku's used to being naked anyway. Hell, he sleeps butt-ass naked every chance he gets. So he was okay, his sister basically being naked on top of him. Hell, he's used to his mother sleeping naked and walking around naked anyway. And so, this was just like another Sunday afternoon for him. Once he finally passed out of sleep, his April just followed him soon after. And of course, as soon as Izumi woke up, she shrieked and covered herself with her hands and arms, trying to basically cover her most intimate areas. Of course, April just giggled and says, "Your brother now has seen me always naked. I walk around this whole this whole house in nothing. So you're showing things he hasn't already seen. Things that he has already seen in constant amounts of full nudity. Hell, he walks around naked himself, so get used to seeing his schlong just out in the wind." Of course, Izumi's like, "Oh my god, this is so embarrassing." Izuku's just rolling his eyes like, "Really, mother?" End of flashback for him. He just rubs the back of his head, slightly embarrassed. But he does make sure that Izumi stops rubbing the bite mark. And when they both walk in. Bakugo does shove Izuku out the way. Like, get out of my way, nerd. Both teams growl at him. Low enough so nobody gets freaked out, but loud enough that Bakugo hears the message. Do that again, and I'm breaking your arms. He just storms off. And of course, Izuku takes one step and trips. This is where he thinks he's about to quickly just do a handstand and step back up. And to realise that he's not falling, nor is he being helped up by his sister, who's looking at him weirdly, until they hear a girl's name saying, "Oh, sorry, I should have asked if I could use my quirk on you." She lifts him. The girl lifts him up, smiles, puts all 5 of her fingers together, and softly says, "Release." Izuku's eyes kind of like a little bit bugged out, like, this girl has a quirk and she's being nice. That is not concerning at all, considering my sister and 2 others are nice to me. But what is it with me and women? Am I going to end up having a harem in this school or something? That's going to be terrifying. Cough, cough. One other girl. Cough, cough. Anyway, they all go into school. Izuku gets her name as Ochako Uraraka. Or Uraraka Ochako, if you're using the last name first. So, Izuku walks in with his sister and Uraraka. They are all, surprisingly, in different areas. Izumi goes into City Ground B, Bakugo goes in A, Izuku in C. And pretty much when the alarm goes, well, technically the written portion, Izuku and Izumi, they get high scores, like, no problem. And then they go for their their physical. And when they go for that, that's when they find out that they are in 2 different areas. Izuku is in C, Izumi is in B. They glare at Bakugo because he's glaring at them. He's in A. And so, Izuku goes into City Ground C. He sees that Uraraka's quite nervous. He wasn't really paying that much attention to President Mike when he was explaining the 0 pointer. All he knew is that it's big, it's massive, it's big, it's ugly, stay away from it. It's a hurdle. You have to get around that hurdle. So, he even missed when some kid was just blabbering on and on and on at him about something. So, he was about to go up to Uraraka, put his hand on her shoulder, tell her to calm down, it's just a test. It's not like they're going to kick her out on the first day for failing a test. But, of course, someone grabs his shoulder. Izuku snaps his head around and was about to clock the guy in the face till he sees a glasses-wearing kid saying, "She's trying to focus, you go over there and distract her. That's not very hero-like of you." Izuku was about to say something, like, very provocative and very, like, aggressive, like, full face, get out of my head, get out of my way, before I send you to the curve. But President Mike pretty much screams when the gates open, you just run in. The gates open. Izuku doesn't, like, him and Izumi seem to have the same wavelength, as they both dash off into their own, well, testing grounds. Of course, kids say, "Hey, that's cheating," but Professor Mike just says, "Hey, there's no ready, set, go in a real battle, so go, go, go." When they get there, in both Izumi's and Izuku's arenas, they've already started racking up quite a few points. Of course, in the observation room, Aizawa does pick out Izuku and Izumi, saying that both of them are quite strong. They seem to be using the same techniques as each other, although one seems to be using her quirk to help out others, while the other is using his strength to secure more points and to help others by ramming their own targets away. One's acting as an actual hero, while the other one's acting more of a combat-heavy hero. They both actually have potential. Isaiah pretty much says, "Yeah, I want these two." They see the other applicants as well. All Might is there, and when he sees Bakugo, he says, "We're not letting that blonde in." Just by the look of him, it screams maniac. Look at the way he's looking at the camera. He's smiling, and his eyes are glowing red as if he is in a blood-drunk rage. Of course, the teachers do look at this as well, and some of them do say, "Yeah, All Might does have a point. The kid does look like he's in a blood-drunk rage." Even Nezu kind of says, not just says, Nezu agrees. It's like, bloody hell, this kid is definitely not hero material. And since Nezu has connections, he pretty much brings up Bakugo's resume. And he does say that Bakugo does actually have quite a good record. That is until All Might says, "Yeah, that's from Eldera High. You know, the school that we've been investigating?" Principal Nezu sighs and says, "So, they're part of the MLA, Meta Liberation Army." As All Might just nods his head sternly, "Yeah. They are a part of that group." The other heroes gasp, hearing this. They know all about the Meta Liberation Army. Hell, a few of their investigations have turned up that several schools are virtually indoctrination camps. Eldera High was a little bit more successful in making loyal MLA members. But he also saw that they were making a project to where they made all the girls go after the strong males and hopefully seduce them to having children early, so they could pick up the child and indoctrinate them, creating a larger army through the generations. And so, after a while of investigations, everybody was arrested. Every teacher, apart from one. Zuku's homeroom teacher was arrested, because it turned out he was actually brand new to the school, and he wasn't fully into the whole make sure that the girls only see Bakugo as the top dog. So yeah. And he was quite nice to Izuku, and all the students were also taken in for questioning. All apart from Izumi and the twin sisters.
Turns out they were nice to Izuku and they hated what was going on. But they did have to question Izumi. That's when they found out all the shit that Inka Midoriya had done. So now there's a watch out for this woman. There's a bulletin on her as well. So yeah, back to the actual story. As everybody would just shake their heads knowing that the MLA are not the people you want to be on the wrong side of. They are very, very secretive and very well armed and trained. But in the end, it will be a matter of time until they uproot all of their secret facilities. Anyhow, after a while, Nezu presses the big red button that says 0 pointer. Of course, the ground starts rumbling. Izuku, using his advanced hearing with his ears, could hear the grinding of the gears. Izuku looks towards where the center of the fake city is, as they would see the 0 pointer rise up out of the depths, clearly symbolizing someone with a gigantification quirk, with its massive treads rolling through the city, indicating again that this is, yet again, all about intimidation, flexibility, and strategy. President Mike did say that it was just an obstacle, but Izuku saw it as a challenge. It's basically a gigantic villain with a gigantification quirk. So, what's the harm in destroying it? While everybody else was running away, Ida included, by the way, if you've forgotten, Ida was in the same area, or same training area, city assignment area as Izuku and Uraraka. So once Ida ran past Izuku, looking at him and just shakes his head, Izuku just walks forth. And this is going to sound a bit stupid, but think of Rob Lucci from Egghead Island. As he just basically smashes his fists together. Basically says, yeah, this is going to be fun. He hears Uraraka scream. He looks at her to see that her legs are trapped. So with speed, he runs over to her. And with as much ease as a cat catching a fish, he rips off the debris and sends it flying into the 0 pointer. It does nothing. Izuku just pretty much grabs Uraraka, basically slings her over his shoulder, and basically makes sure she gets herself secured as he asks, is she okay? Uraraka says, no, I think my ankle's twisted. Izuku looks down at her ankles and sees one is puffed up and red, indicating that it has been twisted. Izuku just screams, hold on. Uraraka was about to ask what does he mean until she screams as he jumps and starts basically climbing up the building like he's a deadlier version of Spider-Man. As he just seems to be going up like several windows at a time. Venom by any chance, anybody? As he reaches the top of a building, he then suddenly shifts into a wolf, freaking Uraraka out because she wasn't expecting this, but luckily he kept some clothes on this time. As he just, on all fours, runs towards the 0 pointer. He then jumps and runs along its arm, It tries to squish him, but Izuku just jumps onto its other arm and runs up the rest of the way. He turns back into his human form as he cocks his fist back and says, "Good night, you ugly sucker," as he punches the center of its face, ripping a hole into it, and starts just tearing out the circuitry, causing Power Loader to scream, "No, what is he doing? That's going to take me years to remake." Until the Zero Pointer basically starts malfunctioning, smashing its hands into its head, trying to crush Uraraka and Izuku, until Izuku pulls out the power core itself, causing the robot to pretty much shut down and start detonating because of all the power surges and overloads, just making the system go mental. So as Izuku jumps out, the Zero Pointer goes up in a blaze of glory. Izuku shifted to his wolf form, so when he landed on the roof building, he just ran, jumped onto another building, continued running, and ran off onto another rooftop of another building, and does the same thing over and over again until they get lower and lower to the ground. Eventually, Izuku turns into his human form and pretty much jumps off the roof of the smallest building he could find, and basically hero lands on the concrete, cracking it, and basically just looking at everybody just gawking at him. Uraraka's feeling a bit sick, but she keeps it down. But she then loses her shit when he just says, "What are you ladies looking at?" Uraraka doesn't know what came over her. She just burst into tears laughing. And all the other guys felt insulted by being called girls. So of course there was a furious shouting match between a bunch of them. Very mature. Recovery Girl came along, kissed Uraraka's boo-boos goodbye, and gave her candy. Of course, Izuku just already, he walks off. It's like, yeah, see ya. He doesn't care, he just says peace and peace out. Uraraka screams for him to wait, she screams, wait. Izuku looks at her, and she just says, "Thank you for saving my life. You're a true hero. I'll never forget your kindness." Izuku just smiles and says it's what a hero does. Unbeknownst to him, that smile made Uraraka's heart just leap into her throat. She doesn't know why, but that smile just made him look super cute. And her face goes bright pink, and she's very embarrassed that she's having naughty thoughts, but she couldn't help it. Her heart was just beating 100 miles per hour. Figuratively speaking, not literally. I think if anybody's heart does start beating 100 miles per hour, you got a serious fucking problem. And with all that said and done, Izuku goes home. He continues practicing and training with his dad, who had met April. When Izuku found them next, they seemed to be having quite a pleasant chat. Even with a cup of coffee in both of their hands, April leaning over the table with a hand resting in her palm, just talking it up with All Might, basically. Izuku just sighs but smiles, knowing that his adoptive mother is literally going to shack up with his actual dad. Like, seriously, he sees the writing on the walls. He knows that perhaps there's going to be a little pitter-patter of werewolf feet from little pups running around from his mother figure. Well, technically, no, he calls her his mum, so he's looking forward to having little brothers and sisters running around. And so he kisses his mother on the cheek, gives his dad a hug, and basically just says he'll be up in his room. All Might nods. Couple of days, All Might walks in to his room and says, "Hey kiddo," as he slaps a letter down saying, "This is from UA." All Might just sits down. April sits next to her son as Zuko turns on the thing. A hologram of All Might appears. Zuko looks to his dad as they all literally hear him laugh, saying, "Ha! It is I on this recording device." Basically, the whole spiel about the point system and how Zuko actually got quite a few hero points, but also a devastating amount of villain points due to the combat. The highlight of the day was Zuko, not only Zuko, but Izumi as well, who is there, by the way, but upstairs in her own room, because she wanted to listen to her own one without her, new parental mother figure, listening. And believe it or not, both of them had the same image of them both ripping out the circuitry in the 0-pointer. And both of them hearing from All Might that Power Loader was not happy. He was a very unhappy man and he was fuming, saying, "I made those things purposely for people to run away, not literally hack their heads off with the circuitry." So yeah, eventually they all got to the news that both Izuku and Izumi got roughly 2 different points. Izuku got around about 209 with over 101 hero points, leaving his score at 310. Izumi got 60 villain points, but 198 rescue points. So they both broken the records clean out of the water. They even had broken All Might's record of 108. So they made Izuku and Izumi feel quite good that they beat All Might. As All Might basically says, "Welcome to your hero academia." Of course, Izuku then gets told that, unfortunately, the advanced study courses are unfortunately all filled, so they can't actually take him on. This is just for Izuku. So he's only going to be able to go into the hero course, which is going to be class 1A. Izuku looks at All Might and says, "Are they really that full?" All Might himself, aka Toshinori, aka Izuku's dad, just nods and says, "Yeah, I actually checked with them, and they said they would have loved to have taken you in, but there are just too many slots that have been filled, and there's no way they could actually fit him in, even if they tried." Izuku just shrugs, like, whatever. Fair is fair, I guess. So yeah. After a while, Izuku hugs his dad, kisses his mother on the forehead, and leaves. He goes up to his sister's room, and she's pretty much crying. He thinks that she didn't get in, so he went over to comfort her. And she screams, "I got in, I got in, I got in!" Izuku just is taken by surprise, and she just wraps her legs and arms around him, hugs him, crying, saying, "I got in, I got in, I got in," over and over and over again. Izuku just chuckles, wraps his arm around her, hugs her, and says, "Good job." And so a week later, they would go into UA. But this is where I'm actually ending it. Because one, I gotta be up in the morning. And two, just literally just ran out of things to say. So I hope you all like, comment, subscribe. See you all in the next one. Peace.